Recording in progress. Okay, so it's a South Korean dark comedy, not just a dark comedy, but directed by Bong Joon-ho.
Who?
What?
I guess that's how you say his name. Oh,
Abbott and Costello. What?
I did read that he's the same director who did Snowpiercer. Anybody ever see that movie? This is a pretty good science fiction movie. And it's been made into TV series. Anyway, premiered in 2019 at Cannes Film Festival. It won the Academy Award for Best Picture, and it also won additional 3 Oscars: Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, and Best International Feature Film. So it did well. And the plot, I will mention before I do the plot that it was like they made it for, it looks like 11 million. It made 262 million.
Wow.
So anyway, it's about the Kim family lives in a semi-basement flat in Seoul, have low-income jobs and struggle for money. And they all kind of get themselves in to work for this Park family, right? And so the Parks go, once they get in there and they're working for the Parks take a camping trip, and when they leave, they're all together and they start partying in the house, and they discover people. The old housekeeper comes back and discover that her husband is living in the basement. It's her husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
So anyway, there's all kinds of havoc occurs and all that, and there's all kinds of terror and death and all kinds of things, and it ends up that the father of the family, he gets sequestered down in the basement itself, and he's trapped down there. The movie ends with him trapped, and the son saying that he will one day get him out of there. So I watched it when it came out. I didn't think it would win Best Picture that year. I was surprised when it did. I liked it. I thought it was a good year for movies, but I didn't think it would win the Academy Award, but it did. Like I said, I liked it. So I don't know. I'm curious to know what you all thought the point of the movie was. I'm not even sure I exactly know who the parasite was. I suppose it was the whole family, particularly the father. What
did you like about it? You said you were surprised that it won, but you liked it. What did you like?
Well, I mean, I liked the whole way it was put together. I thought it was intriguing. I thought there was a message being sent about people and their karma that came back on them as parasites. I mean, in the end it didn't work out for them. But those were the things I liked. I mean, it was just a well put together movie with a message of some kind in there. I'm curious to see if you think that the message is the same as me, that a parasite is probably not a good place to be.
But both families were parasites.
I agree. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
the rich family.
The rich family, they were parasites taking advantage of the poor. And then the poor taking advantage of the rich and trying to get jobs and taking money from the rich. So that's,
Yeah, because he, like, in the end, he, like, the dad of the Parks, they're at the party at the end, and what does he say? He says, "Oh, that dirty guy," and that's when the father of the poor family walks over, and where did he stab him? In the head?
Chest.
Chest.
In the
In the
chest?
chest. I think it was the idea of smell, because right before
Mhm.
he holds his nose, and that was running through the entire movie. The
Mhm.
smell, even the little boy that smells, and he almost gives away the whole thing by smelling, and recognizes they all smell the same, but they
Yeah.
smell. The kid doesn't say it's a bad smell. He just says they all smell the same.
Mhm.
But when they're in the apartment, the Kims are in there. The daughter says that's the smell in this of being poor, that we're in this apartment. It smells, and it has just taken over us. So I thought that was an interesting theme. I also thought it's just class. The upper classes, it was upstairs, downstairs, upper classes versus the lower classes. And in this case, it was upper class versus lower lower class. If you look at the whole, the apartment that the Kims were in as being halfway subterranean, and then you've got the other people living high on the hill, and the other people seeing all that sunshine, and the other ones hardly seeing any sunshine. The cleanliness of the house on the hill and versus the small area where they had to live. And then when you go even further down, and you've got that husband that hasn't been out and still adores the Parks, which I thought was interesting. That he still had this respect for the Parks, even though, and he would, what was that he did with his head to make Mr. Park think that it's motion detectors, but in actuality, it was his head hitting.
It was SOS.
Yeah.
Sending Morse code.
No, there's
He's in Morse code.
yes, but
Yeah.
that was after. What I'm talking about is when Mr. Park would walk up or down the stairs, and I don't know how he knew this, but the light would go on, he'd hit his head, the light would go on, he'd hit the head again, his light would go on, he'd hit the head again, the light would go on. And it was like I'm sure Parks thought it was a motion detector, but he'd been doing that for 4 years. So I really liked it. I actually liked it better this time, I think, than the first time around. But I didn't look at it quite as like any movie. I think the second time you see any movie, you always see more and get more out of it. So I really liked it. I thought they were all parasites. And Gary, how you would call arc of characters, I would call the arcs of the families. The different arcs that both families went through to end up being who and what they were and what happened. And I don't even call it a dark comedy because it was funny, and then it was horror, and then it was suspense. It was all the genres mixed together. But I really like that. And I think there's a lot of movies that don't do that well, and this one I thought did it very well. So yeah, I liked it.
I thought that was interesting what you were saying about the smell, and yet that they spent that whole night in that one room together, and they never mentioned anything about smell. When they were all hiding under the table,
Mm-hmm.
If there was this big deal about smell, but
good.
you're right. I mean, they did have it all the way through the movie. They kept referring to smell, but yet there they were that one night all together. in
Actually, yeah,
big
I think
room.
they did though, didn't they? I think you did
Yeah.
say something about it.
I don't remember
When
how
the
they got away with
came back. Yeah, when the Parks came back, Mr. Park, when he was trying to get on Mama Park there, he mentioned something about he smelled that smell.
Yeah,
of
that,
his
yeah,
driver.
that the subway, that when he takes the subway, wasn't
Yeah,
that it?
Yeah,
It
that's right.
smells like that, yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know, it
Smell
was,
was a deal.
yeah,
I
it
thought
was,
it was thought it was a psychological thriller.
yeah,
If you've done any dream interpretation studies, they often talk about dreams that you're in a house and you discover hidden rooms, or you spend time in an area where it looks familiar but it's all new. There's a lot about that is exploring different parts of your personality. So I think the movie is very introspective in that the cleverest people in the movie are the poorest people in the movie. I mean, they're the ones that have figured out how to get, out of there. And, but, then the whole thing turns on the discovery of another whole section. And the Donna, your observation that one family lives subterranean, one lives at ground level, and another one lives at another. I think that's all could be interpreted as an exploration of one person's psyche. Plus, I think one of the breakthroughs is this young lady says, didn't your son have a trauma in the first grade, which apparently was just a shot in the dark. She had just read a couple things online about art therapy
Yeah.
and happened to hit. But I think there's a lot of psychological elements where you can watch this movie and say, that's a part of me that is unresolved, or that's a part of me that is undiscovered. So I thought, I understand why it was written, was awarded the original screenplay, because I just thought the different things they explored and the different things they uncovered while this family was cleverly getting under the skin and under the roof of the Park family. And the Park family was the dullest of them all. I mean, it's like they did not deserve to be where they were, while while far more clever people were having to suffer. I thought it was a class movie, class against class, violence, and the whole element of now you're going to discover, and the kid took his tent outside and he explored a different part of the house. It was just a lot of elements that I thought made it you couldn't take your eyes off it. I thought, and I was not surprised when it won for Best Picture, because that year I thought it was the most intriguing, engaging picture of the year. And usually, and there's not been another movie like it. And usually that's what the Oscar folks like. If it's, they don't ever give an Oscar to another Marvel movie or a DC Comics
Right.
movie and they're always looking for something offbeat, and it was certainly offbeat.
yeah.
That kid's never going to have a good birthday again, for sure.
You think that
Yeah.
that first grade trauma was bad?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was bad.
I know it went against what's the movie where the lady was getting revenge on all the men? Carrie.
There's a lot of those.
I was going to say, line them up.
I'll look it up.
It's a whole genre.
That's the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bill, what you were talking about it won for screenplay, Best International, and Best Picture. It also won the Palme d'Or, the top prize at Cannes. So it was on a roll. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look and see how it did in Golden Globes, but I think it was a charmed movie.
Well, and it was the only,
made a lot of money.
yeah, and it was the only that was non-English. Isn't it the first non-English speaking movie that won an award? Didn't I read that somewhere?
Could be.
I thought it was
Could
the
be.
first year they changed it from best foreign film to best international film.
Could be.
But I think for the best
Then it won
picture,
both.
it was the first non-English
language.
speaking for best picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think.
So who did you identify with?
Who were you asking?
Everybody.
No one.
Anybody.
Uh,
You didn't identify with anybody?
No,
Yeah, well,
No.
I didn't identify. I liked the, I think
Who
the
were you
smartest
pulling
one.
for?
Oh, I wasn't, who was I pulling for? What I got angry about is that you've got this rich family that are kind of nice. I mean, I use that term loosely because what's the sister's name? Not this, yeah, the sister of the Kim family. I forget her name, but because they, I hate to say this, they all sound similar, but I know that's terrible. I know, mea culpa, mea culpa.
The one sitting on the toilet back here.
Yeah, that one.
part.
That one, yes, yes. What did I write down? It was like, oh yeah, they're both bad guys. They are not bad people. They're talking about the Parks now, but not nice despite being rich, but they are nice because they are rich. And that was said by the sister.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, they were nice because they were rich, not because they were really nice people. At least that's what she thought. But what bothered me is that you've got two families that are lower socioeconomic families, and they could have joined together. The two families in the sub basement could have joined together and work together with the Parks and have all this stuff, and instead they fight each other. And I was, well, that's kind of strange. Why wouldn't they join together? I connected with both families. One was the housekeeper, and she gets tossed aside, and the other one is the family that has no money and are desperately trying. And why don't they just join forces instead of trying to call the cops on each other or whatever they were going to, and kill and end up trying to
they
kill
both
each other?
felt guilty. They both suspected
Well,
they were doing
maybe.
something wrong.
Maybe, but why not go after the rich people? Because that's who they really wanted to be like, not each other. And they were so similar. At least I thought the two poor families were very similar.
I think
So
the
2
first
weeks in a row,
housekeeper.
we have a movie where there's nobody to cheer for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
I think
like
the
it.
first housekeeper was really pissed off that she realized what they were doing and booted her out of there. And plus they cut her off from her husband. So I think that she was just really mad.
Sure.
And that's why they couldn't get together. It would have been smart to get together. As you said, they could have done some creative parasiting, but
It's interesting that
You're right.
the rich guy, he said that she was a great housekeeper, but she ate enough for 2 people, which was kind of some foreshadowing.
yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
weird that he would even notice that.
Yeah.
So if they all teamed up, then that'd be, 2 extra people they'd have to be feeding somehow.
I was intrigued by the complexity and how they built the complexity of the plot. They started out with one person going to work for them, and then they figured out a way to bring the next person in. And you need somebody else. Let's figure out a way to get the driver fired. This should be easy, and on and on. It was really a clever way of weaving that. And when things started to slow down a little bit with that, they introduced a whole other plot of the second, the previous housekeeper and her guy in the basement, which just really threw things sideways. I thought it was really creative, and in a way, it reminded me of a Poirot movie where they had to kind of unravel everything and who's really doing this and what's going on with this person. Although there wasn't a specific detective doing any of that, but it was the way that they wove it together. Kind of reminded me of a plot like that. That was
interesting. Yeah,
was
yeah,
good
that's
writing.
interesting. Yeah.
Mahoney, you've
I
been
didn't
very
care for
quiet.
it. I didn't care for it too much. I literally had to fight taking a nap in the middle of it and thinking, well, I'll just listen to it, and then I would go,
You can't
like,
do that.
yeah, 50% asleep, and go,
Unless
oh,
you
wait a
go
minute, that's not going to
Korean.
work. I like
You speak Korean.
I like exactly, which I don't. I like Copeland's explanation that it's unwinding the plot. There was a little bit like a Hercule Poirot movie. I think there's something to that, but it was moving so slow at the beginning. I actually had to go back and read the plot for a time to kind of figure out where it was going, and so that the fact that I had to do that really sort of detracted from my ability to enjoy the movie. I mean, I think if I got to go back and read the plot, and again, I'm not following along, or it's not engaged me enough, that's a sign of trouble for me. I do understand why it got the honors that it did. It was just not a movie that appealed to me too much.
I wonder if there's a dubbed version that you could have napped to and enjoyed it more.
I wondered as I was watching it and looking back on it, because I sometimes the subtitles I thought were a little strange. I thought, could I have watched this movie totally without any sound other than the nice music that was in the background and gotten the whole idea of what was going on? And I think I could have. Because they kind of brought people in, that you could tell that people were coming from the subterranean area. You could tell that people were rich. You could tell kind of the conniving that was going on there. You could kind of see how they were doing that stuff. And I think it would be an interesting experiment to do that maybe.
And
But
I
now
guess
I know the
because I'm
plot.
simple, I mean, they did it one at a time, Jeff. So it wasn't like they were throwing three characters at
Right.
a thing. It was, okay, we'll do the brother, then we'll do the sister. Then we got this little weird kid who's doing odd things. Okay, now we'll get the dad. Now we'll get the mom. Yeah, I think you could have done it without the.
Yeah, it was very linear. There was no memento
No.
tricks to it.
Although I kept wondering about the stone, the what did they call it? The stone, and also
Stone. Yeah.
the American Indian stuff. And it was just so prevalent. And I was like, okay, why that? Supposedly this guy, Boone, the writer, they call him Boontail because he's so detail oriented. And when I read that, I went, well, then maybe that's, I mean, I don't know why the Indian thing. And then there was that stone, and that I think it was symbolic. And then also the term crossing the line. I thought that was thrown in so many times, and then there were kind of visual lines that the poor family had to stay behind and all that. So I did see some symbols like in those, and that's what made it interesting too, I thought. How symbolic.
The other line that keeps coming back is, do we have a plan? What kind of what's the plan?
Yes.
So it's like a management seminar. Okay, we need a plan.
We need a plan. Right.
The plan that never fails, though, is no plan.
It's the one that when you don't make it, no plan. Which, of course, that's what the son says at the very end, that I've got a plan, Dad. Well, you know that Dad's never getting out and he's never getting in, but you know.
That
What-
guy would have been dead with it, getting hit on the head with that rock twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
But
way.
you know what I read? Now, again, I'm just throwing this out. I read this and I thought about it, that rock, because I thought it was a symbol, but they said the rock, do you remember seeing the rock float when it was,
Remember them putting it in water. I didn't realize it was floating.
no, when they were in the apartment and it was was being flooded.
Flooding.
Yeah, the and I don't remember, but I read this that that rock floated and that's when he picked it up. Now, if that's the case, and that wasn't a real rock, and if that wasn't a real rock, then no wonder if he got hit on the head with one of those fake
Styrofoam.
rocks, he wouldn't die. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just throwing. I read that and I went, huh, because they were saying the same thing. Why didn't it kill him to being hit on the head with that heavy rock? But I don't know. Supposedly, it was floating in that flooding water. I'm not. Yeah. Anyway,
There had to be some
Another-
symbolism there.
other
They
thing
showed
to throw out.
often, didn't they?
Pardon me, Bill. I'm sorry.
There had to be some symbolism there. They showed that rock several times.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I think it symbolized him getting up in the world. You know, that remember it was supposed to bring material wealth to the family. That was the purpose of it. And so when he held on to it during everything, it was like, yeah, this is going to bring me material wealth. And he almost gets killed by it, but
Like the
Yeah.
old Prudential commercials. Gotta get a piece of the rock.
a piece of the rock.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
This rock is broken. It doesn't work.
Karen, you've been very quiet, young
Well,
lady.
Chris said, "Oh, join us anyway." I didn't see the movie, didn't see it when it came out. I was gone all last week, as you know. I was up in Minnesota, and we had such a great time. And when I got back, my Webster email was up to about 80 pieces. My Maryville email was a little bit more, and everybody at SSD is like, "Where have you been? And why aren't we?" And so I spent the day answering emails, so I did not get to watch the movie. So, but yeah,
You need a plan. You need a plan.
Yeah.
yeah, I need to not go on vacation in early
Or-
August because
Or a
everybody,
rock.
yeah,
Yeah.
No rock.
you know,
Right.
yeah.
Well,
This
it's
is shit what
I
I
would.
want. I don't know.
It was. It's a masterpiece. I really do think it's a masterpiece. And
I do too.
the first time around, and now the second time around, I think it's even a richer movie than the first time. So
I
it
agree.
would be worth an hour and a half of your time, or 2 hours and 12 minutes of your time.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you have to look at it. You can't just listen to it.
I
Right.
like Mahoney's idea. I want
You
to
have
semi-nap.
Yeah, you
Semi-nap.
gotta read closed captioning.
Oh,
Yeah, it's closed captions.
I think
I think
I
told-
knew that much
I
about
think
it.
yeah,
So
I think I told
I
the story. I was
apologize
on a-
for being, Chris, you made me calm. I wasn't going to come to this.
No, it's because of
No,
what
we'd rather see you.
discussing later.
I was on a
Got nothing to
cross
add,
country
though. Sorry.
where the right back in
I
the
can
day
talk
when you
about
had to, like,
dreams if you want to talk about, the different psychological theories on dreams. But
Go, the psych professor here. Yeah.
Yeah.
about that.
well, aren't moving into different rooms a metaphor for discovering different parts of
Well,
your personality?
If you subscribe to psychoanalytical theory, which I do not, yes, those all of those little symbols mean something, and I'm more of a neurocognitive psychologist, where the sort of the old iceberg. Stop me if you're bored with this. But the old iceberg analogy that what we know is like the tip of the iceberg, and then all of our subconscious, unconscious is all the bottom part of the under the water part of the iceberg. That came from Freud, of course. Stinky. Oh, speaking of things that smell. But anyway, the science behind it, in terms of looking at the brain more from the neurocognitive perspective, is that all of that subconscious, unconscious, whichever term you prefer, that the Freudians, that psychoanalysis says is all the hot stuff, that's all the repressed stuff, and that's all the stuff that makes us, that causes us to be neurotic and, that sort of thing. And they sort of dispute that and say actually that, that subconscious, unconscious part of us is really much cooler. It is those things that we do with automaticity that we don't have to, use front part of our brain for. If I say to you, did you put your seatbelt on today? And you'd be like, well, yeah, I always put my seatbelt on. And I'm like, do you remember putting your seatbelt on? And most people will say, well, no, I don't remember it. It's, and so there's just tons and tons and tons of things that we do that we don't, we don't consciously, pay attention to, we don't commit to memory and that sort of thing. And so, and when it comes to dreams, that again, the Freudian / psychoanalytical school would say, again, these are the things that you can't bear, your conscious mind can't bear to acknowledge, so that it comes out in your dreams, and it means this or it means that, and sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, as they like to say, but
and a donut is just a donut.
That's right. Okay. But if you dream of hot dogs chasing donuts through the Lincoln Tunnel, you might have a problem. Anyway, all those stupid.
I'm stuck on the word automaticity. Is that the word you use?
Automaticity, right? Yeah.
I haven't heard anything you've said since then.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I've gone on too long, so I'll just.
No.
No, it's true.
Yeah, automaticity. Anyway. That's a new one for me too.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yeah, really.
Okay. Well, if you think about it, it's you're well aware of it. You just didn't have maybe a word for it. It's just all those things that you don't have to stop and think about doing.
No, I got it.
What do you do when you tie your shoe? I do this, and then I do. No, you do it. It's automaticity. When you get on a bicycle, you don't stop and think about where do my feet go and how fast do I pedal and what. No, you've done it so many times that you do it very automatically, and that's the automaticity piece. And thank God for it. Yeah. Because otherwise every day would be like the first day of school. I have to stop and think about every freaking thing that I do. But thank goodness I don't. So yeah, I can free up my frontal lobe, my executive function, for doing the things that are new, that are challenging, that are interesting. Yeah, all of that.
Now I'm especially interested in seeing what you think of this movie.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen it, so you have to.
Yeah,
I know.
I'll put it on my list, but I know I'll have other movies that although I won't be here next Monday either, because I'll be on the plane getting home from Seattle.
Well, we're not going to have it next Monday.
We're skipping next Monday.
Good. Okay. All right.
Nobody told me this was the advanced placement movie group.
I'll resist.
AP.
It's the AP week.
I'm trying to figure out the class structure here. If Karen is the only above ground group and we're at like ground level, and then there's a subterranean group.
And then the subterraneans. Yeah.
Chris, did you give us your thoughts on it?
I did. I talked about the parasites. Who were the parasites? And I said they were all parasites.
All parasites, yeah.
In their own way. The poor stealing from the rich, and the rich taking advantage of the poor and their skills and what they could do for them to make them more comfortable and happy and whatever they thought that they needed in their little fancy house there. So I had trouble with it at the beginning as well. I thought, oh my God, if this doesn't pick up, I am going to take a nap. But it did. It picked up. And it was like, okay, where's this going now? And I loved it when they had a little party in the living room. And they were all getting drunk before the Parks came home. So you knew.
As soon as it started raining, I knew it was going to come.
Yeah, you knew that was coming. It was just a matter of when. So, but I didn't like the endings a little much, I thought. Very intense. I did not expect at all.
Well, other than making a couple $100 million, what do you think the director was trying to do? What was he trying to create as a takeaway? Class struggle?
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
You know, the haves and the
at least in
have-nots.
part.
Yeah.
Probably
I
not
read
just
something
three.
about he was trying to show the difficulty in a family trying to stay together, which, you know, I didn't really get they were trying to stay
Mm.
together, but
Yeah, I don't get that.
But-
Mm.
The poor
No, I
family
definitely-
worked together to maintain. The rich family
Yeah.
just, they kind of cruised. Everything was easy for them. I think they actually weren't as cohesive as the poor family.
Well, they obviously didn't care about what was happening in their own city. I mean, there's all these people that are drowned and don't have homes and all that, and they're talking about how nice the sunshine is. I'm so glad that that it rained and it got rid of all the pollution. Well, but you're not thinking about all the people that are just dying, and they have aren't even thinking about that.
So
Like-
what, they made such a big deal out of the guy urinating outside of their window.
Yeah.
How many times did they reflect back on that? It's like, okay, we get it. Why did they do that?
Well, I
Well-
thought that was we're in like living below level, and we're still getting pissed on by somebody half a step above us.
Above
there were
us.
just all different levels of abuse.
And then they're yeah.
The
Just
same
respect.
They're
guy.
eating dinner. They're eating dinner when he's doing that. And it's like, and of course, smell came up again. It's like, oh, please. Yeah. Yeah.
They're just trying to maintain dignity, you know?
How about the
Trying to imagine.
fumigation?
We're a
Yeah.
happy family. and
fumigation, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they
that
said,
was
killed
funny.
me
"Oh,
right
keep
there.
keep the window open. It's
Leave the
Oh,
free,"
window
yeah.
you know?
open.
And all
Yeah.
those pizza boxes are getting coated with bug
Yeah.
spray and
It
everything.
was a freebie.
Yeah, it was a freebie.
I'm looking at Karen's face, trying to imagine her listening to our disjointed
Yeah, I
explanation
know.
of this movie. Pizza boxes and fake rocks.
Meanwhile, the daughter was eating on top of the toilet, which was just exploding.
Well, that's behind Jeff Arthur.
Yeah.
So that's a different one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's it.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
That's it. That's it.
When it
Oh,
was
train
flooding, yeah,
spotting.
yeah, she was
That is a
sitting
true
there.
throne.
They had to have it up real high because they were in a basement. So they would have had to have a pump otherwise.
Yeah. Oh
Ah.
my God.
And a plumbing lesson.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I thought the maid.
All right, we're gonna meet in 2 weeks. So whose pick is it for then?
It
This
will
was
be-
Barnhart.
I
So
think
Steve
it's
C, wouldn't it be?
yeah,
be
Because
Jeff
Jeff.
mine-
Arthur.
Yeah.
Okay, after watching Garp recently, I kind of had a hankering for another Robin Williams movie. So I would like to, if we haven't watched it already, and I don't think we have, is Good Will Hunting.
Oh, good one.
yes,
I love that movie.
yes.
Yeah.
Love that
That-
movie. It's not your fault.
So that'll be the, what do we got here? 12th, 19th, 26th.
25th, 26th, yeah.
Yes.
First day of class.
Oh,
Yeah,
yay.
that's just what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like
And then
my
we're gonna
merry-go
use
class is
September
Monday,
2nd.
Wednesday. So yeah.
That's
We'll
the
have
first day we
September-
all get class, but no.
First day back.
Yeah, we're a classless society until then.
Yeah.
And
We're all
September
Kims until
2nd will
then.
be Labor Day, so we won't meet then.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
2 weeks.
What's that?
I'm
The
leaving on the
26th is Labor Day.
No, September 2nd,
Ah,
first Monday in
Okay.
September. Yeah,
okay.
so then Donna's pick will be September 9th that you'll present.
Okay. But I'll
Very good
tell
to
you
hear.
on the 26th, I'll tell you what it's gonna be.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe you will, and maybe you
And
won't.
maybe I won't, yeah, you never know.
So I leave on the 12th of September.
Well, this will be on the 9th, so you'll be,
Where are you going, Mike?
I'm starting off in Santa Fe. Then we're going, doing a week there, and then we're going to the Utah National Parks.
Oh, yeah.
Grand Staircase Escalante. Back to Flagstaff to see the Navajo guy who saved our bacon last year when the trailer broke down.
Mm.
oh,
And
nice.
Then Durango for a week.
Sweet.
Are you doing the train?
We never have before. We may take it up to Silverton. I've been to Silverton, been to Durango, but never on the train. May take the train up and the bus back.
It's spectacular. Yeah. A lot of people do that. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
nice
just too much
ride up.
time
It's a
to
long
waste.
ride back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any other picks?
Anybody else?
I finished.
I think-
Trying to figure if I've seen anything. Oh, I
No.
saw a movie this weekend called Touch.
What's it called?
Touch. It's
Is that the old
Icelandic.
guy trying to find his girlfriend from 50 years ago? I wanted to see that one, and it kind of came and went here in St. Louis.
Already?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah, it looked really
guy,
good. Like it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's Icelandic,
Uh-huh.
British, Japanese. No, yeah.
Oh.
Mahoney, you cannot sleep through this one.
I'm picking it up on it. I'm picking up on that.
Three
That's
different
a guy
sets of
who-
subtitles.
Yeah, he's from Iceland. He ends up as a student in London, falls in love with the daughter of a guy who runs a Japanese restaurant, and they're from Hiroshima. And they go back to Hiroshima. She disappears, and he spends the next 50 years reconnecting with her, trying to find her. So it's a long search, but sweet movie. It ranks right up there with Driving Madeline. If you've seen
Mm.
Driving,
Yes.
it would be in the same category.
Fabulous. Yeah. Karen will probably be streaming somewhere soon. You
You're
can
right.
pick it
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
So I saw The Fabulous Four at the theater with Bette Midler, Susan Sarandon, Megan Mullally. How do you say her name? Did I say it right? And then
Yeah.
some other lady. I don't know who she is, but it was hilarious. It's one of
Was-
those don't need a brain to go see it. It's so funny. Yeah. Other than that, I've been reading and not watching television, so I have nothing else to add.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time watching the Olympics.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man, that Turkish shooter. Did Turkey send a hitman to the games?
What about those closing ceremonies?
Oh,
Were
fabulous.
those bizarre?
I love
Yes.
the Red Hot
Hey.
Chili Peppers.
Mhm.
Yeah, the golden traveler or whatever.
The
it was.
Golden
What a
Traveler,
costume.
yeah.
Yikes! Kind of scared
Wow.
me.
Scared you?
I thought that the Tom Cruise doing, taking the torch to LA. Oh my God, that was a mission
Over the top.
impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a little beyond. But
Have you
Yeah.
seen the Hollywood sign? They've turned the O's of
Yeah.
Hollywood into the
Well,
O's.
yeah,
of
that's
yeah, they
what-
showed it last night.
Really?
Yeah, that's what Cruise did. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, he's so special.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
And Snoop Dogg. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the biggest pile of crap.
Snoop enjoyed himself.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Flavor Flav
Sure
was
did.
having a good time too.
Yeah.
Got to
We're
give it to
doing it,
those
you know,
guys. They figured out how
2024,
to do that.
America's sweethearts, Flavor Flav
Yeah.
and Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
If you had a bronze medal and they told you to give it back, would you?
Oh,
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Come get it.
Right.
He didn't have to give it up though, did he? Didn't they
She's-
roll it back to
she's-
him?
She's going to. It won't. She might keep the medal, but not going in the record books that way.
Right.
It's like every sports title that gets vacated. The team that loses it, they still get the the thrill of winning it and the confetti and all that sort of stuff. And then,
You
6
mean
months
like
later,
the bogus KU win in the,
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
we beat
Or
Missouri.
the Colorado extra down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, those buffs.
flea kicker.
We had the one kid from Kansas City that ran
Yeah.
brains
Yeah,
out.
yeah. The 400.
Yeah.
400.
Mhm.
There were lots of good sporting events.
Oh,
What's your
God. there's
favorite, Bill?
Mhm.
What was your favorite event?
Of the whole thing, I mean, I like the relays. They're pretty good. I like that one relay the woman won, or it was the women's relay. They won it like by a lap, by half a lap. It was
Right,
like
right.
you're sitting there and she like
She wasn't even in the
oh.
same picture with the rest of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how you cannot do the 15,000 where that guy came back and beat the guy from Norway.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he
Yeah.
was like 6 deep in that pack. And incredible.
Oh,
There,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, the basketball game, I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
that was a great game. You didn't
Yeah,
And the
think so?
women's basketball, they
praise.
just squeaked by.
You're right.
what about the women's
I like the women's rugby where they on the last
Oh,
play of the
yeah. The
game.
rugby's,
Yeah.
yes.
First of all, I thought it was a great play. Second, I didn't even know we had a women's rugby team.
I
So I
didn't
was very
either.
excited to
Right.
see them.
Yeah.
Did anybody see the surfers in Tahiti?
Yeah.
Oh, that.
Did you know
Those
that they
waves.
didn't have an Olympic Village house? They were actually on a yacht. That was their Olympic Village.
Really?
And
Surfers,
how
yeah.
perfect that
yeah.
Colin Jost was the host of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That Brazilian that won the bronze.
Yeah.
Oh,
Was
wow.
he hot, Karen?
You think? Look him up. Google Brazilian surfer, bronze medal. You'll see.
Okay.
I like the breakdancing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The girl
That's
from
unbelievable.
Australia, bless her heart.
He said it's not coming back for 2028.
No, it's like, yeah, they
Oh.
Darn the luck.
You
like
know,
flag football is going to be in LA, but they
Oh,
won't.
yeah. Flag.
Yeah, but it won't come back. Yeah, but
And
it's still
baseball.
I one thing now we're talking about, I did sort of miss the decathlon. Did they ever do the decathlon?
I don't
always
think
thought-
so. I didn't hear any. I don't remember hearing
I
about it.
don't know.
I always thought the
Yeah, I
decathlon
don't
they
know.
did that on
didn't.
like the last day or last
yeah.
the
It's one of the-
and
one of
there's
the
not
last
even a
ones,
mention
yeah.
of it, and that's always been kind of like one of the things I really like to watch online.
I know they did the women's decathlon because that gal got taken out of the, what was it, 800 they had to do?
Yeah.
She got disqualified. She got DQ'd in it.
Wow.
But do you have to do like a sexual reassignment to qualify for the decathlon?
Yeah, you do.
Only in
You do?
boxing.
Oh.
Well, anybody?
All right, I smell dinner.
Picks? Any
Yeah.
other
All
picks?
right, I'm
right.
out of here.
Okay.
Hey,
All right. See you in a couple of weeks.
So-
In a couple of weeks. Chris, I'll see you next weekend.
Yeah, you guys have a
those
safe
going
trip.
To
Yeah, have a
Tacoma,
great trip.
are we gonna stay on here a minute?
Do you want?
Yeah,
Tell
we
Sandy
can.
hi.
Okay.
Okay, goodbye to everyone else.
All right.
Okay. Bye, all.
Bye.
We'll see you Saturday.